I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patent it. Being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks. Isn't that spitting slow, spitting fast? I can roast, I can gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you are behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage in this bed. I'll be great one day, going.
Hello, everyone. Can you just tell us how our sound is? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Everyone. Okay, wait a minute. We got too many things. Okay, we've got 3 iPads, 2 phones going on. It's sticking up right in the middle, right in the, right on the top. It's sticking right up.
Here?
Yeah, there. Okay.
Better?
Okay, yeah, better. It's better. Okay, how is the sound? There is an echo, but you sound good. Okay, let's see if we can get rid of the echo. How about now? Do we still have an echo? We got all these turned off. Echo gone. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shauna. Okay, wow. We've got quite a crew here already. So let's see. I know John was on. John Marciano, and hello, John, and Jane Spitfire. Hi, Jane. I get connection here from my ExJW friends since I am in the big city alone and too nervous to go to events alone. Well, hopefully we're going to see you in Massachusetts, right, Jane? We'll talk about that in a little bit. Sal Picaro, preaching ExJW from Detroit. Welcome, Sal. Is this your first time? I don't recognize your name, but welcome if it's your first time. And Jen, hi, Jen. Rebecca Wise, doing fine here. Let's see. And Sky Graham. Hi, Sky. Hello, y'all. Debbie Moore. Hi, Debbie.
Hello,
we just got
all.
off the phone with Debbie.
Hi, all. How are you?
Okay. So the sound is good. And all right. So do we need that one? I think they're all plugged in. These
You unplugged it.
Okay. Got to get all of our technical stuff here.
Power lined up.
Okay, got my microphone on. So yeah, we've got hopefully a good show tonight. It's on decisions. Question mark? Decisions.
Yeah.
Exclamation.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about decisions. We've got a couple of videos and hope your week is going well. This is the middle of the week, and our week is going well so far.
It's going fine.
Yep. So thank you for joining us. Dallas, hello, Dallas. Dinah Lost. Hi, Dinah. I'm listening, she says. Let's see, who else? Okay, yes, Sal said yes, it's his first time here. Well, welcome.
Welcome, Sarah.
Glad you could join us. Now, we are on Fixing My Faith, and that's Vern and Shauna's channel. They help us. They do all the technical stuff.
All the technicals, yes.
So Vern was saying he's trying to reach 10,000, and he's got 8.4 thousand. So if any of you that are listening have not subscribed, please subscribe, because that number will go up. And it's really the only income that Vern and Shauna have.
And
So
they
we
do-
want to support them.
Yeah, and they do great work for this. They really do.
Vern puts out a lot of content.
They make this possible.
Yes. Vern puts out a lot of videos on his channel. His is just Fixing My Faith. And then ours is Fixing My Faith, Joe and Fran. So if anyone has not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, the bell, and also hit the like button so we can get those numbers up. That really helps out Vern and Shauna. We really appreciate what they do. They're up in British Columbia. So, it's not like we can just jump over and see them, but this is the best way we can support them. So, let's see if hi, Ruby. Ruby's here. And Shaq. Hi, Shaq. Shaq is probably still at work. He's out in California. And glad to have you all here. John Marciano's in California. Debbie's in Nebraska. And a lot of the rest of you are on the East Coast. Like Ruby. Rebecca's over in Texas. And our new, let's see. Sale is in Detroit. So if anyone else is in Detroit, please give us a shout out. Maverick. Hi, Maverick. Good to hear you, see you. Carrie Kay. Carrie Kay is in California. My grandfather was born in Victoria, British Columbia. Oh, that's nice. Wow.
Sound check?
Yes.
Are you using your mic?
I am.
It's on?
I've got it on. How's this sound? Does it sound okay?
You got the green light
Yep,
on?
the green light is on.
Green light's on.
Green is go. Okay.
You're so technical.
Okay, so Jane Spitfire said, Vern and Shauna, I saw a new young guy named Thomas from your area. Vern trying to leave JW. He was on the Liberati Facebook. So maybe we'll, I think I know who Thomas is, because I watch Liberati all the time. There's a lot of people on Liberati. Okay. Okay, as people keep coming in, we'll try to keep up with you and keep mentioning, but we'll go right into the birthdays.
Birthdays.
So we have a website called ExJWFriends. You can go on any time of the day and you can check out the birthdays of the month, anniversaries, and also meetups. We have a lot of meetups coming up, so maybe there's a meetup in your area, or if you would like to have a meetup in your area, just email us at ExJWFriends, and we'll get that email. So birthdays this month, we're still in April. We keep adding them, so as I find out about them, I email David, and David is the one who's been putting this ExJW Friends together. So April 1st, Donna Zuck Adley, Bunny Wallace, Mary Parsons, dehydrated nurse. When do you want me to stop?
Oh, you go ahead.
April
You did
2nd.
fine.
April 2nd, John Miller, Wild Wall, Apostadude and Jackie Jacks. April 3rd, Sylvia Becker. April 4th, Kenny Carpenter. April 8th, Corey Martis. He said, I'm at one with the force. He was 56 years old, so he's on Discord. And let's see, April 9th, Yanara Vaccaro. April 10th, Sonny McSweeney. April 11th, Debbie's daughter Tina in Mads Avenue. Mads, by the way, just had her baby. This is her third girl, Madison.
Wow.
Yeah, from local.
Oh, yeah.
April 12th, Steph woke up. Maybe Steph will join us tonight. Sarah Soar High. Ab L. Barton. Jack, who's Johnny's son, and Jacob, Michelle's son. Now, Jacob just left the organization. He's 32 years old. He was an elder. He's out, and he just celebrated his birthday for the first time.
Nice.
Did you want to say? Notice something?
Yeah, I just noticed something, and I think that's a great idea. Someone said, and I won't mention the name, but they were, you'll find out maybe. But when offered a tract, they declined and said, well, I faded, rather than just saying, I'm not interested.
Oh, nice.
That way it implants in their minds that they can fade too.
Wow. Good
This
idea.
thing called fade. Yeah,
good
that's
idea.
a great idea. Mention that you're faded.
Yep.
Great.
Good.
Good. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, celebrating his birthday for the first time. That was Jacob, 32 years old. On April, after Jacob, Mr. CIA's wife was also on April 12th. Okay. April 14th, Martha Irwin and Martin Riley. Martin's in the UK. He puts out YouTube videos. April 15th, Dana Bell. April 17th, Rebecca Hayes. Ruby, not Ruby Quinn. This is a different Ruby. Robin Pidio and Stephanie. This is a different Stephanie. April 18th, Josh and Jake Randall. Alexis Lambert. Connor Marshman. April 20th, Linda Kiefer, Michelle Martinez. April 21st, Tall Cool Woman, and Trisha. April 24th, Espy, that's Michelle's daughter. She is 16 years old on the 24th, and that's tomorrow. Okay. April 25th, Emily Anderson. April 26th, Jay. That's our Jay that comes on. He's going to be 47 on the 26th, so that'll be Saturday. April 27th, Maria Torres. April 28th, Errol. April 29th, Liza Kunson. Dan and Dave Torella. That's the Dave that was coming on our program. Maybe he'll come on again. April 30th, Ashley Campbell. So those are the birthdays for April, and we've got a birthday song.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Which face are we using?
Happy one.
Oh, yeah, happy one.
Should we show it? It's up to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. We'll flood ourselves.
Okay, anniversaries.
I'll do anniversaries.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This month, April 10th, Vic and Gretchen Cruz. April 13th, Mike and Eva Arnold. April 20th, Bob and Nancy Scott. April 29th, Chad and Sarah Reinold. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
And if there's any birthdays or anniversaries that we didn't include, let us know in the chat.
And we've got an anniversary song too.
We're about to have a beautiful time. About to throw a party tonight. Hey, it's been a
really long day for me. I should be living my life. Because time won't wait for me. All to throw a party tonight. Me and my friend, and I be happy that I made it. Yeah, to the end of the day, that's right. So I guess I throw a party tonight.
Book club on Liberati. Okay, so we've got also on our ExJW Friends, if you go on there, upcoming events. So obviously tonight, April 23rd, Fixing My Faith with Joe and Fran. Decisions. May 17th, that's next month. There's going to be a meetup in Orange County area, California. It is starting at 3:00 p.m. It's at Finney's Craft House, 204 West Chapman Ave, Orange, California. And I know Nadine was planning on being there, and maybe JP or Shaq. So there's the information, more details if you want to go to that one on May 17th. And then the next one, May 18th, is our meetup. It's called ExJW Excellent Chicken Barbecue Meetup. And it starts at 1 p.m. And the reason why we started this meetup is because Faded in San Diego is going to be in New York. He's going to be visiting us. And we thought, what better way for him to meet the New York friends than to have a big meetup. So it's going to be May 18th. It's a Sunday. It starts at 1 p.m. Let's see. And the address is right there. It's just a little bit north of us in Remsen, New York. That's with the Kiefers. That's Linda that comes on, and her husband, Matt. Please bring a dish, snacks, or drinks to share. And I really need an RSVP by the beginning of May so we know how many chickens to get. And that's our phone number there, 315-221-0130. So if you could give attention to that. Let me see. Can you go to the next one, honey? I got to read a text from someone.
Where are we starting?
Start with the Las Vegas.
Whoops.
Yeah, thank you.
Still live in 2025 ExJW convention. Where's the Las Vegas? Did we miss something? Well, the convention that Rick Farron's getting together, he's calling it a convention, still live in 2025. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but sponsored by Six Screens by Rick Farron. And obviously many people are going to be meeting up together. September 26th, at 6 p.m.
It's the Las Vegas.
Where are we?
Okay. Want me to do it?
Go ahead. I'm
Okay.
confused here.
Okay. So Joe just mentioned the one in August. That's Rick Farron's the meetup, the big meetup. It's going to be in Massachusetts. The details are on the website. It's a 3-day meetup. We will be there. A lot of folks are going to be there, and it should be really nice. The next one in September, we're planning these ahead so that you can make plans. If you are in the Las Vegas area, there is going to be a 2-day meetup, September 26th, September 27th. The 26th, it starts at 6 p.m. and it says, join me, my brothers and sisters, in quotes, for a weekend in Vegas, among other ExJWs, to just kick back for a relaxing weekend. So Friday, they're going to meet up at 6 o'clock for dinner at the Bear House. There's the address right there. Saturday, they're going to go bowling, meet up at 4 p.m. at the Velocity Esports. And the address is right there, and then followed by dinner afterwards. So it's a 2-day meetup in Las Vegas, September 26th and 27th. Okay, I think there's a cruise coming up. It's on October 2nd. That's our anniversary. October 2nd, starting at 3:30, and it's going to go to October 7th. It's a cruise. It's a 5-day cruise, Carnival Firenze, and the price is $359. It's going to leave out of Long Beach, California. The details are all there. Cruise detailing and details and booking. Now, Doreen is the one who is hosting this one. Again, it's from October 2nd to October 7th, and it's Carnival Cruise, and it's leaving out of Long Beach, California. So I think we got all the, and here's our meetup. Again, we just want to mention, if anyone comes early, the actual meetup is on Sunday. But if anyone wants to come early on Saturday, there's a big music festival at a local brewery. And we met the fella that owns the brewery, and come to find out, he was studying with Jehovah's Witnesses. Long story short, we told him about what we do, and he was just flabbergasted. So we thought, wouldn't that be nice to support his music festival on May 17th? If anyone can come a little early, there'll be a music festival. And then the meetup will be Sunday, May 18th. That's all day long. And then on Monday, we're having breakfast for anybody that is staying over, breakfast at Denny's in Herkimer, New York. Okay. There's the Discord. So Discord has also birthdays and all kinds of, they do movies, and you can chat with different ones. They have a like a therapy, if you want to talk to someone, you're down and lonely, you can get on Discord. So everything here is on ExJW Friends. Just go to that and you're going to get all this information. Please check out our website, www.exjwfriends.com. And we do get people, they do respond to us, and we're always connecting people and putting them on our list. Okay.
Very good. You did great.
I have to tell you something. When Joe was going to college, he was going for student activities, was one of the things, counseling on a college level. So he would organize activities for the students, for the college students. And one of the activities you did was take a bite out of New York.
The Big Apple.
The Big Apple.
Yeah, take a bite out of the Big Apple. It was a tour for New York City, and it was pretty nice.
We were just newly married.
Yeah.
We went.
Yeah.
And there was, adults. They were not real young kids. They were more.
Yeah, it was mixed. Let's see. Well, it was a community college, so there were a lot of adults, not young kids. Were there many young kids?
I don't remember. I remember more older ones.
Yeah, there were. It was good.
A new mug. Thank you.
But at any rate, it was a good time. The purpose behind student activities in college, or anywhere activities, is to put people together who normally may not be so inclined to venture out and get to know each other. Because here they are. In most cases, many are unfamiliar with each other. They don't know each other at all. And until they do, what they're going to say is, I don't have any friends here. I don't have any friends. And what this does, it puts people together, and they become, friends. They don't all become perfect friends. Not everybody connects with each other. That's okay. Not supposed to. But I get a chance to be exposed to others who normally you wouldn't be exposed to. And that in itself helps a person to realize that, there's more people in the world than just me. And they're looking for something. I'm looking for something. And we can find it in each other and around each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great opportunity to find company, good company in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your world, not just the world, it's your world. It's the world that you're going to find everything good in. A lot of things aren't good, that's true, but you don't want those things. I don't either. So those are the things you learn to avoid and to learn how to manage out of your life if you can, as you can, with the help of others. And that's what we're doing. That's what the friends are doing now. That's what the meetups do.
Mm-hmm.
Meetups help people who exes who have come out of the organization and now take a bite out of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Yeah,
bite.
I like that.
Good bite
I like that.
of something good. Because basically, you know it's good. You do. You know it's good. And you're looking for good, and so are others. And they find it with each other. It's everything that we've seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Every meetup that we've been to, they're all a little different. Some are small, some are big, but we've always enjoyed it, and we always had a chance to meet new people.
Yeah.
So that's our opportunity, after leaving the organization.
Yeah, see, again, for anyone that doesn't know, whoever's listening now that may not know, Jehovah's Witnesses organization, which pretends to be a religion, but which is really a high control cult.
Okay. Excuse me for interrupting. Debbie wants to come on, and she's getting sleepy, and she needs to come on as soon as possible.
Better get
She's
at it.
backstage. Debbie?
Hi, Debbie.
Hi,
Can you
Debbie.
hear me?
Can
Just
Can you hear me
about.
okay?
you got to speak up.
I've got earbuds on. That's the only way you can hear me. And I've got it. Let me see if I can turn it up. Hold on. Is that any better?
No,
Can you take the earbuds out?
No, you can't hear me then. But the phone don't work like that anymore.
Okay, well, do your best.
yeah.
Okay. I had my third operation on Monday, and it looked really good after they did it. Well, to me, it looked good. To anybody else, it would be like, yeah, but it's the muscle and the tendon's not sticking out anymore. It's covered up. And after the surgery, when it was time for me to, get up and everything, they had put the cast on wrong, and I could not bend my leg. And I said, I can't do anything. I'm like, and the girl came in, she said, well, what do you want me to do about it? I'm like, fix it. So I had to
That's
leave.
right.
I had to leave from surgery, then from the operating area, and go to the wound clinic so they could take it off and make another one, another cast. And this is immediately after surgery. So I go there, they take it off, and I was really irritated because there was no excuse for that. And that girl kind of hurriedly made another cast and put on me. And at the toes, it stuck out like I'm sorry, I got gloves on. It stuck out about that far from my toes. It was so big. So last night, the wound vac that I have on it stopped. The alarm went off, and it was obstructed, it said. So I called the nurse to come down here, and they tried to do something. They didn't know what to do. And we couldn't just leave it on there with it not working without it doing damage. So they called after hours number, and they just took everything off. So today it kind of got cold and windy, and I was going to get a ride over to the hospital across the road. But the guy was running behind that does that. And so I drove myself to the hospital,
Oh,
and um, it was cold coming back. The wind picked up out of the north. But anyway, I drove myself over there, and they were really nice because they knew I was irritated about everything. And I'm not normally irritated. I'm usually laughing and joking with them. But I even after my surgery, we couldn't get a hold of my regular doctor, and I didn't have any pain medicine. And the nurse here called the girl and said, "Can you not just give her a little bit to last a couple of days?" And the woman said, "Well, all we did was irrigation, debridement, and a skin graft. She shouldn't need any of her pain medicine." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And I was livid. She didn't know I was listening in the background. And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Have you ever had that?" And anyway, so the nurse was like, "Okay, Debbie, okay, just calm down." Anyway, uh, anyway, then the nurse that helped me, her name was Courtney, and she was like, she's like, "We got to do something." And she kept trying to find a way to get me something for pain because she knew I was in pain because I don't complain hardly at all about being in pain because I usually have it, a steady pain level. Well, anyway, she just happened to remember the pharmacy that I did have, and they still had a prescription on hand that they could fill a pain medicine. So she got it and got it brought here and gave me some medicine. And
Oh,
that's when I said I'm sleepy. They just gave it to me. I didn't even think about it when I took it about making me sleepy, but yeah, it's making me sleepy.
oh,
But anyway, I called y'all a little while ago and I got off the phone and I'm like, I felt something hard in my mouth. I opened my mouth and a whole row of teeth came out. They were my
oh,
implants. So now I've got screws sticking out of my gums.
oh, good
And
Lord.
God only knows now what I'm going to do about that because
Oh,
I can't get them replaced. Those things are thousands of
I
dollars.
know.
And I'm hoping maybe they can glue them back in or something,
Wow.
because apparently they got knocked loose during the surgery, when they were putting me to sleep.
jeez.
So that's just one little fiasco that's happened since Monday. And I was going to tell you, this is something kind of funny that happened. They have Bible studies here. Well, they call them Bible studies. It's mostly singing, and stuff. And I always go because I think it's fun. Well, a few weeks ago, I went to a Bible study, and lo and behold, it was a Bible study. And they invited me in, and I sat down, and then she handed me a book, and she said, "We're studying out of this." And I'm like, "Oh my God, what did I get myself into?" I immediately realized that's a Jehovah's Witness. you
Oh
know,
no.
I didn't say anything, but I got this weird feeling like I just couldn't believe what was going on.
Imagine that.
I participated in that in part of the way through. I said, "What religion did you say this is?" She said, "Oh, we're Jehovah's Witnesses. Have
Oh,
you ever heard of Jehovah's Witnesses?" I'm like, and I didn't say anything for a minute. I thought, do I confess? That I know all about Jehovah's Witnesses, or do I keep myself, or do I just shut up? Well, I can't just shut up. That don't work. So I said, "Yeah, I'm kind of familiar with Jehovah's Witnesses." I said, "That's how I was raised." And she's like, "Oh, well, we would love to have you back."
oh
I said,
gee.
"Okay, just keep doing the study." Well, fortunately, I got a phone call. Okay. So I excused myself and went outside on the door. They opened the door for me to sit outside in the hallway. I took the call, but then they saw me get off the phone. And I thought, well, I can't be rude and just leave. So I went back in. But I had fallen the night before. I had a real bad fall. And my entire right side was just black and blue and purple, but it matched my outfit perfect.
See.
And I kind of lifted my shirt a little bit and showed her the bruising. And I told her I really needed to go, back to my apartment. Well, that was over in the nursing home part, and I thought, well, they don't know where I'm at because I'm in assisted living, which is a whole nother area. Well, lo and behold, a few days later, I heard a knock on my door, it's usually the staff, and I said, "Come in," and it was the staff person that had taken. Oh yeah, this is hurting now. Oh. It was the staff person that had showed me where the Bible study was. She opens my door. She says, "You've got company."
Oh, no.
And I looked up, and it was that sister. And I'm telling you, I almost passed out. It made me sick because I thought, oh my God, now they're going to just tell me.
Yeah.
So anyway, she just said, you're invited, anytime on Thursday at 2:00, we have a Bible study. And I told her, I said, I really do appreciate, and even when I left the Bible study before, I thanked them for the invitation and everything. And I told her, well, I really appreciate the invitation. And I said, but I probably won't be coming. And she said, but we chit chatted for a minute. And for a minute, I almost got that, oh, I found somebody, that it was like, here's a witness that I could actually hug and everything, but I had to just, cut that part of me off. And I just told her, I wasn't really interested. Okay. And I told the staff I didn't really want to be bothered by Jehovah's Witnesses. So anyway, on Memorial Day, she comes again, and Kim, the nurse, she tried to stop her. And she says, Debbie doesn't want visits from the witnesses. And she completely ignored her and came and knocked on my door anyway.
Yeah. It's disgusting.
So I thought, well, I got to nip this in the bud now.
Yes, you do.
So I invited her on in. And I said, I was a Jehovah's Witness for like 40 some odd years. And I said, and I know all about Jehovah's Witnesses. I said, do you know anything about the pedophilia that's going on? I said, it's not an apostate lie or anything. And I just started talking to her like that. She said, well, it's the memorial night. And I said, yeah, I know. I said, but I really, really want you to come back. I really do. I said, we can have Bible studies and whatever. And I said, but I want to let you know why I'm not a Jehovah's Witness, why I stopped, and why I will never go back. Well, guess what? Hadn't heard a word from them since. So that right there nipped that in the bud.
Good.
Good.
Yeah. But that was kind of funny, a funny thing that just happened to happen, or whatever. Anyway, Skylar, there was a girl here that took Skylar, my cat, and she had a cat. Well, she's one I just honed in on for some reason. I just felt this connection with her. Turned out her mom's a Jehovah's Witness, and she goes to the Kingdom Hall with her mom, not regularly, not because she wants to, but just to satisfy her mother, even though she's nearly 30. Anyway, she took Skylar. Well, she came a couple of weeks ago, and she was afraid to talk to me. And I said, is it? She said, it's harder to have more than one cat because her cat hates Skylar for some reason. I don't know why, because Skylar's this amazing, wonderful, terrific cat that drives me nuts, but I love him to death. And she said she couldn't keep him anymore. So they had told me I couldn't have him, here. And so I went to the administrator and I told her what what Brandy said. And I said, Skylar's like an emotional support animal for me. And she said, that's true. I said, well, would y'all consider letting me have him from that standpoint? So she called the corporate office and they said, yeah. So I got Skylar back. I do have to give him a $250 deposit, which I will, when I sell my house, which I've had 2 people back out at the last minute. But anyway, I've got more people interested in it. And I mean, I can't keep a lot of the money. There's not going to be that much money anyway because I'm selling it for $10,000 or best offer. So anyway, so I got to get my cat back. Well, I kind of had one more thing. I'm just going to tell you everything because it's just been crazy. Anyway, there was this one particular girl nurse that I was having problems with. I love her to death, but she's so much like Tina, and it's my daughter. But you can only have one Tina at a time, in your life, and that's enough. But I mean, but I love her to death. I love this girl to death. Anyway, she went way too far over boundaries with me, and I let it go a long way, and because we would kid around a lot, but her kidding went a little. It wasn't her kidding that went too far. It was her crossing boundaries and sticking her nose in something that she didn't have any business in. Anyway, God, where my teeth all fell out is hurting now. But I did say that a minute ago, didn't I? My teeth fell out a little while ago after I talked. Okay. Anyway, so me and Courtney, kind of have this disagreement. And sometimes if I get kind of upset or angry or something, I get loud. And so me and her were kind of yelling at each other in the hallway in front of everybody. So they heard me, tell her, say she was a liar and something. And they said, yeah, come on in here, let's talk. And the night before I had written to one of the other nurses some of the things that were going on and why me and her weren't getting along. And she wrote back, she said, this is the longest text I've ever gotten. I said, well, I'm not done yet. So I kept writing and writing and writing. So when they met with me that next day, I asked them, could I just read this to you? Because I wrote everything down. So I started reading, and every few minutes or so, they were like, wow, that's important. We need to write. And they were taking notes the whole time. And they told me I was a prolific writer, which made me feel good. But they said, can we print it off? And I said, sure. She said, because we want to use it as a teaching tool. And I was like, really? They printed it off, and it was 30 pages. And they said, why haven't you got a book out? And I'm like, well, here's one of the chapters. I guess if I can. I said, I've been working on the book. They said, well, hurry up. I said, you can write a series like this. So they took a lot of the suggestions I made and put them into practice the next day. And they sent it all to the corporate office. And they're using a lot of what I wrote as a teaching tool.
Wow.
And it just really, having a company say that about my writing really made me feel good.
Beautiful.
Anyway.
So Debbie,
yeah.
just tell us one last thing, and how did it work out with you and Courtney? What did you find out about Courtney?
Oh, yeah. Courtney was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. And she said her mom is still a pioneer and her sister too. And I'm like, oh my God. And I said, you're a Leo and an ExJW. I said, no wonder you're such a bitch. And we just kind of laughed it off and hugged it out, you know. And she apologized to me. Of course, I apologized to her too, you know, because, you know, it takes two to have an argument. But anyway, we hugged it out. We're besties again. I do still love her to pieces, you know. That I mean, I don't have a problem forgiving people for anything. Maybe I shouldn't have said what I said about her being a bitch, you know. That, you know, if the shoe fits, and a lot of people say that. So anyway, but she was bullying me, and she was bullying the staff.
Oh,
Even and she read they had her read everything I wrote, and she started crying and said she didn't realize she was being that mean, but she couldn't deny anything I said because it was all true. But other than that, I love it where I'm living. I've got a 1-bedroom apartment. I've got a patio, and Skylar's got a ground level view where the birds that come up. I throw out little crumbs of bread and things, and I mean a whole slew of them come up. And yesterday the squirrels joined in, and Skylar was flat on the ground because he's scared of them. You know, he ducks when they fly by and stuff. But he was having a really good time yesterday, sitting on the floor and just But I have a box down. You know, cats love a box, and he got in it, but it was facing out, so he thought he was hiding because he was in the box, but he was looking out from the box. But it didn't matter. He was happy. He felt safe, and it just tickles me to death to get to watch him. And he is eating up the attention here. When I got him back, he had lost weight. He was depressed and sad and not eating. And then one day, all of a sudden, when I put food down, he devoured it.
Wow.
And then he just started eating. So he started gaining weight right off the bat then. And now he wouldn't even come out. He wouldn't even come out the first couple of days. He hid from me. But then he started coming out to me. And then everybody that comes in my room, which is multiple times a day,
wow.
Somebody's here, you know. And he's coming out greeting everybody and loving on everybody. And he's been a pretty good kitty cat since then.
Debbie, we're
Oh,
so happy. We're
I'm
so
so
happy
glad.
for all your good news.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of videos to show, but we're glad that you could come on. We know that you're getting tired and your mouth is hurting, but thank you for the update.
And that's so nice. You had such a good response there, a good input for the staff. That's great.
Yeah.
We love you, Debbie. Love you.
Love you too.
Thank you.
I'll see y'all later. Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so you want to show that video?
Yeah, let's do the
we got a
video.
video about decisions, and there's an illustration with 6 hats. See if you can, I thought it was really interesting, the different hats and the colors and what they stand for.
List is as 6 thinking hats. It's created by Edward de Bono. And it's this idea that if you are facing a decision or a difficulty or a dilemma in your life, one of the reasons why we can't always think our way out of something is because we see something from a set point of view. And what 6 thinking hats does, it gives you permission to step out of yourself and try on another lens. Meaning, imagine this table here has 6 color hats, right?
Yep.
And I want everybody to think about, who's listening or watching this right now, a decision you need to make or difficulty. It doesn't have to be like life and death, but it's just something that, you know, that
where to live. I'm thinking about
yes,
that.
Perfect. Where to live. And then you have these hats. So the first hat is the white hat. No specific order. So imagine you're reaching out and you're putting on the white hat.
Okay.
Right. And the white hat, and I'll give you a mnemonic because I'm the memory guy to help you remember what each one symbolizes. The white hat, imagine a white scientist's lab coat, like a white lab coat. That's data, that's information, that's facts, right? So now you could only look at this situation or this decision tree through the eyes of logic.
Okay, so
right,
I'm doing that now. So me and my partner are actually looking for somewhere to live at the moment, and we're we've been looking at, it's really about which area to live in
Mhm.
London, or maybe we'll live in Portugal, or maybe Dubai. So we're kind of trying to figure that
Ooh,
out.
okay.
So I've got my white hat on and my lab coat, and I can only think about logic. So price,
Mhm.
I'm thinking about, is it a good time to buy?
Yes.
What's the graph saying? I'm thinking about renting versus buying.
Commute and travel and
Yeah.
amenities that are, that
Yeah.
would be all the factual. And then so you could take off the white hat and now look for the red hat. So you grab the red hat, you put it on, and the red hat is symbolizes heart, is emotions.
Mhm.
So this is where you're going more with your gut, your feeling. You're putting logic aside and just like, what feels right for you?
Her family lives in Portugal, so that's the first thing that came to mind when you said about feelings, so being close to family.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is good. I hope everyone's doing this also. So you could take off the red hat and you could put on, let's say, the black hat. And the black hat, think of a judge's robe. And the judge's robe, this is where you get a little bit, you could be judgmental. You could look at the risk or the devil's advocate. You could look at the other side, in terms of what could go wrong. Like
I might hate living there. The places we're considering, we've never lived in before. So what if we buy a place and then we immediately don't like it?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should stay where we are and not buy anywhere. Maybe the housing market will collapse and it'll be such a bad investment that we'll regret it.
So you're shining a spotlight. So the idea here is that the information is out there, but where are we choosing to put a spotlight and acknowledge and be aware of? So you could take off the black hat, and we're doing this abbreviated, right? Mm-hmm. And then look for the yellow hat. You put on the yellow hat, and the yellow is like the sun, and that's like optimism. And this is like all the things opposite of the black hat. What could go wrong? What could go right? Like what the upside?
And even all those things I just named, we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. If we live there, we can always move somewhere else, and we'll make it work. And Dubai's lovely; it's hot.
Yeah,
so it's Portugal.
Nice. And those are 4 hats, and the last 2, take off the yellow hat and find the green hat. And so you put on the green hat, and the green is possibility. It's like new growth. If you look at the plants that are green, imagine new foliage, new growth, and these are like maybe thinking outside the box. Like maybe it's not, I go to this job or this job. Maybe it's I go back to school, or maybe it's something I'm not entertaining. So that's possibility.
So that would be in the context of me moving house. What is that? That's the possibility of.
So if it was like between this and this, it could be like choice 3 or choice 4.
A third option. So maybe we'll try America, or we'll try another place to live in the world, or maybe we'll just Airbnb in all these places and we can live in all of them.
Yeah. Okay, so that would be green. And then finally, the last hat. So it could be done in any order, but the blue hat is always you end with. So put on the blue hat. And the blue, imagine the sky overlooking everything. It's kind of like the manager hat. Mm-hmm. It listens to all the conversations with all the other color hats. Mm-hmm. And then it helps you make a decision. Because it informs, because here's the thing, you can only make decisions based on what's in your conscious awareness. And so many people live with a certain hat on, like 24/7. They are just that logical facts, prove it to me. And they see through a certain lens. But if they're not, looking at the emotional context or other possibilities or the downside of, Branson's very good at that, right? He's very good at looking at, everyone looks at him as very, very risky, do all these crazy things, but he's, you have conversations with him. He looks at, like from the black hat, look in terms of risk management, right? And mitigating the downside. And so but if you just looked at everything through the yellow hat, investing, optimistic, you think everything's going to Bitcoin, everything's going to be good. You're going to go all in that, and you're ignoring the other points of view. And so this allows you to have more information. So hopefully with that more information, you can make a wiser choice with something. And that's kind of,
you literally recommend people in chapter 15 of this book to buy multicolored hats.
If you wanted to be able to do that, we could do this. We do this with our team, where we'll go through with our team and say either one of 2 things as a team building exercise, or like we're facing this, initiative, we're launching a new book, or we're doing this, whatever, like a social media challenge or whatever. And we'll have people, like everyone put on the same color hat, metaphorically, like literally physically go like this and put it as if, so you get your body into it also. And we're all looking at it through the same point of view, or we'll assign different hats for different people and we'll have this big kind of, court case and conversation. And that the rule is you have to talk as if you're from that, point of view. And that allows us to get outside of ourselves. It's similar to innovation, where there's a book called The Structure of Scientific Revolution. It's not a really fun read, but the essence of it is a lot of innovation and progress comes from people outside of that industry, because it takes somebody from the outside to have a different lens or hat that didn't have the same learned helplessness and taught the same limitations of how things should have been done. So maybe an Elon outside saying, well, if we're going to make a car today with today's technology, how would we go about doing that instead of doing just incremental improvements on what they have existing, right? And I think you ask a new question and you get a new answer. And part of these 60,000 thoughts we have, a lot of them are informal questions, but are those questions getting us shining a light? We have something called our reticular activating system, which we talk about a lot, that the brain primarily is a deletion device. Deletion. We're trying to keep information out. Yeah. Like, because if we let everything in, overload. Yeah, of course. Then you'd be stressed, right? And so we're primarily, but what we let in, we have part of our nervous system called the RAS that determines this is important to us. So if you're going around in the city and shouts out your name, you're going to turn around, even if logically you don't know that person, but your RAS is wired for your name, right? And think about how it got there. It's probably one of the first words you learned how to be able to write and say, and how much praise how much love is associated to be able to your identity around a name. But also, what also helps us to channel our RAS in terms of our focus are the questions we ask.
Okay.
Helpful?
I liked that. It's I like the illustrations of the hats, the different color. It kind of makes you think. And
ways.
I was just telling Joe while the video was playing that we didn't open up our minds when we became witnesses. We didn't put on the white hat or the red hat or the black hat and ask us, well, what could go wrong? We were it was like an emotional thing. It was the red hat. It was the emotions. It would be good for our family. And we did not, maybe we put the yellow hat on, being optimistic, even when Dan Houghton approached you and said, maybe you should change your attitude. And you were optimistic about it. So what do you think?
Yeah. I think it boils down to the used car salesman or any car salesman or any kind of high pressure sales. You don't give the potential customer, the opportunity to think. You don't want them to think. You just want to lead them in the direction that you want. And if you're unaware of that and not experienced with that, and if they're skilled with that, they're going to do that. They're going to lead you right in the direction they want you to go. And that's a reality. It's a question of influence and your ability to deal with that influence. It's powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. Decisions. See, there's a thought that, we make decisions constantly throughout the day. There's so many decisions. If you listed all the decisions, you would be amazed. There's so many decisions we make throughout the day. Some simple and functional. Others, you have to think about it, and it's like a different decision you had to make than the day before. But they have consequences. If you decide to eat one food rather than another, and you realize, oh, no, this isn't as good as I thought. I could have had such and such instead. Why did I decide this? Well, decisions have consequences. And heavy decisions have heavy consequences. Which is one of the reasons why some people avoid decision, because they know It's going to have consequences. I'm not so sure what the consequences are going to be.
Isn't that a decision, not making a decision?
Well, it's good. Sometimes that's the right decision to make. I'm not ready to make that decision. I don't have enough information. I haven't thought this one through. I have to consider this more. I'd like to sleep on it. I don't feel right about it now. Something's nagging at me about this. There's so many different reasons why you shouldn't make a decision. Now, maybe someone's pressuring you to make a decision. Well, maybe you should resist that. And that's something that you're going to have to be responsible for yourself. You'll know. You'll know. If you made that a decision and realize, oh, God, I should have made it that quickly. Lesson learned. Lesson learned. So we can look back and realize, okay, I can either make a decision or not make a decision. I have anxieties in the meantime if I need to make one or if I should and I don't or whatever. But you can also look back and say, you know, the decisions I made before, I've got a lot of regret for. I regret deeply the decision that I made. Deeply. And which could easily render a person lame for making another decision. It's like, I'm not going to make a decision. I'm not going to go quickly with these things. And that's not good either, because our life can't go forward without decisions. Can't. We need decisions to go forward. Just to take another step, you have to decide to take another step or stop dead in your tracks and never go forward. We're facing something now as Jehovah's Witnesses, ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, or witnesses who are listening right now, who are witnesses. There's some witnesses, you know, you're active witnesses who are listening right now, I assume. I don't know who is, I don't know who isn't, doesn't matter. The point is, the decision you make is going to have consequences, deeper consequences than you can imagine. And whether or not we want to get into this further now or see the other video, what do you think?
We could watch the other video, then we'll have more to draw on, unless you want to keep going with it. You say.
I want to at least at first give a basis. We need information. We need accurate information, truthful, real information. You can be absolutely positive of. The one piece of information that I am absolutely positive of that I heard back years ago was from Rutherford, J.F. Rutherford. They called him Judge Rutherford. He wasn't a judge. He liked to be a judge, but he wasn't a judge. And what he said was absolutely true. He said religion is a snare and a racket. Everything that he said about that statement has been proven truthful and reliable. I mean, I'm 73. I was raised in a religion, Catholic religion, from birth, and then 36 years in the supposed Jehovah's Witness religion. They're absolute snares, one way or the other. And frankly, they prove themselves continually to be rackets. And a racket, if you don't know what a racket is an illegal business venture. Illegal, immoral, unethical, profitable business venture that takes advantage of people. It's not what it pretends to be, and it is very, very profitable for the people that do it. And it takes advantage of people. it's something that people get hurt in. Snare is something that catches an animal because it's seeking food. There's something attractive there. They're attracted to the bait. They don't think it's bait. They just think it's food. This is going to be a good day. I get some food. And they stick their little arm in there and they get it whacked with a clamping trap. And if they're underwater, they're going to drown. Beaver, like a beaver or any other type of critter. And if they don't get away, they're going to drown. That wasn't a good decision. But they can get away if they gnaw their arm off. And they do that. They do that. It's a decision that they had to make. They didn't plan on making that decision that day. Oh no, they planned on a nice piece of food. But they realized, oh my God, I need to make a decision to stay alive. And the only thing that they had at their disposal was to gnaw their arm off. And they get away, alive, but with loss, but alive. And that's one decision that they never, ever planned on making. Basically, witnesses are faced with that same decision. So we were. You were, you are. And that's a decision that you are faced with, one way or the other. And that's your decision. But I'm going to stop at this point, and maybe we'll go to the next video.
The next video.
And then we'll come back and with a little more.
The next video is put out by Phil, Blue Envelope, and he puts out a lot of really good content. We're going to just watch 10 minutes of this. Maybe you saw it, but let's, it's on now.
And, okay.
Is to fight. Yeah.
Recently, I made a video about how Jehovah's Witnesses are not pacifists and how that can be seen right now in terms of shunning disfellowshipped friends and family, and how that possibly may be seen in the future in a more literal way. But one facet of that I hadn't really thought about until another ExJW mentioned it, is how that plays out not just in terms of the rank and file witnesses, but for the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses specifically. Something I hadn't really put together is that the men who currently make up the governing body, which is at the moment 11 men, believe they themselves will soon be called upon to battle the American government. They believe that they will successfully destroy the U.S. government, that they will end democracy once and for all. They teach that this violent conflict will usher in the 1,000-year reign of Christ prophesied in the Bible book of Revelation. Jesus will appoint the governing body to be mighty kings and priests ruling over a modern-day Garden of Eden on earth. The men on the governing body believe and teach members that the American government is controlled by Satan and his demonic forces, and as such deserves total annihilation. Now, when we look at Christianity in general, this sort of apocalyptic anti-government theology is one that very few other denominations teach. Few, but not no others, as we'll get into in a minute. These witness doctrines might in some respects actually have more in common with what some American militias believe, or various domestic terrorists we've seen over the years, folks like Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols, who did the Oklahoma City bombing. These are folks who similarly held that the American government is evil and needs to be violently punished for its sins. But while it may be true that those parallels exist, it quickly brings up the central question: are the 11 men on the governing body a threat in the way that Timothy McVeigh was a threat? Well, we'll come to that. Samuel Hurd, one of those men on the governing body who teaches these doctrines, is especially interesting because he is himself a veteran of the American military. He was drafted in 1954 and spent 2 years in the U.S. Army, primarily stationed overseas on military bases in Germany.
When I was in the Army in Germany years ago, I drove a truck with 5 men inside an M101 howitzer artillery gun attached to the rear of the truck.
Soon after returning home in 1956, he started studying with Jehovah's Witnesses, probably helped in no small part by the fact that he was kind of attracted to the young woman preaching to him. It was actually one of his brother-in-law's sisters. Sam was baptized as a witness in 1957, and he married that young woman, Gloria, in 1959. But in addition to the romantic attraction, Sam did become quite engrossed in the movement's theology. After proving his loyalty with several years of unpaid preaching, pioneering where the need was great, he was hired into his first paid position with the religion as a circuit overseer in 1965. He steadily rose through the ranks, and in 1999, he was appointed to the highest possible position in the religion, one of the governing body. Now, the theology of Jehovah's Witnesses is a split one when it comes to violence. On the one hand, it teaches that members should be nonviolent right now, not taking up arms against any person or government.
Now I don't carry around knives, but I carry around my tools. You could say that I did beat my pistols into plowshares now, or weed whacker, or lawnmower.
On the other hand, it preaches this apocalyptic doctrine that any day now will come Armageddon, an incredibly violent battle between God and his followers and Satan and his. And any person deemed unworthy of survival, whether man, woman, or child, is deemed very worthy of a grisly death in that battle.
The apostates and the enemies of Jehovah would say, well, that's gruesome, that's despicable. You teach your people these things? No, God teaches his people these things. This is what he's foretelling.
In 2013, Jehovah's Witnesses introduced a new doctrine, which is that all Christians going to heaven, a group which witnesses teach numbers 144,000, they will all be raptured to heaven right before Armageddon. But we might ask, why? For what reason would their earthly lives be ended early instead of sticking around to shepherd witnesses through that final battle of Armageddon? Yes, Samuel Hurd and the other men on the governing body will be raptured to heaven so they don't miss out on the opportunity to help destroy the American government, to personally kill countless Americans deemed unworthy of life. Thinking about this apocalyptic theology of Jehovah's Witnesses got me thinking about the parallels to the apocalyptic theology of the Branch Davidians, a group led by David Koresh in Waco, Texas. In 1993, the American government besieged the Branch Davidian compound, which ultimately ended with most of the group being killed. The interesting thing is how many parallels there are between the doctrines of the Branch Davidians and those of Jehovah's Witnesses. It actually makes sense because they were both born out of the same Millerite Adventist movement of the mid-1800s. Now, from that starting point, each religion kind of meandered off in different directions, but both religions still to this day have many teachings in common because of that shared foundation.
Do you teach them?
I show them.
Or do you brainwash them?
Doesn't Christ brainwash you, gets rid of the filth, and puts in the good?
Some may say unity of belief, you're brainwashed. Well, we do agree that our thinking has been washed clean from the complicated doctrines that have evolved since Jesus walked the earth.
So, for example, both teach that we are in the last days and that Jesus will soon return to execute vengeance on his enemies. Both teach that a select group of 144,000 will be going to heaven and that those people can be found within their respective religions' members. Both have a strong interest in Bible prophecy, specifically in how Revelation is being fulfilled today. Each has especially zeroed in on the 7 seals mentioned in chapter 5 of Revelation and how each of their religions fulfill that vision. Koresh's final thing he was working on before the compound was destroyed was actually a large document all about the 7 seals vision. Both teach that their movement has strong parallels to ancient Israel, that their religions are the modern day nation that God selected as his people, just as the Jews were his selection in ancient times. David Koresh's given name was actually Vernon Howell. He chose the new name David as a link to King David, the divinely appointed king from whose line the Messiah would come. And the name Koresh is a transliteration of the Hebrew word for Cyrus, the Persian king in Bible prophecy who freed the Jews from Babylonish captivity. Both teach that the Lamb of God in Revelation is a key character in the Bible and that the Lamb will battle the forces of evil. Both teach that adherents should be no part of the world because everything in the world, the desire of the flesh and the desire of the eyes and the showy display of one's means of life, originates not with God but with Satan. And also because the world is passing away, whereas he that does the will of God remains forever. Both teach that their group will come under attack by the U.S. government. Both teach that only through instruction from their movement's leadership can a person correctly understand the Bible. Both believe in corporal punishment for children in the group. Both teach that loyalty to the religion is more important than the bonds between parents and children. Neither group will willingly report sexual abuse of children in the group. And both teach that it's appropriate to create revenue streams to support the religion's aims. Koresh started a retail gun business. Jehovah's Witnesses primarily buy and sell real estate. One of the few areas the two groups diverge in their theology is on when they will fight the U.S. government. Koresh taught that it was proper to fight the government when they attack, while the Branch Davidians are alive. Conversely, Jehovah's Witnesses teach that the anointed will begin their fight against the government after the rapture to heaven. Other than that timing of when they'll start fighting, there's really not much difference between the doctrines each has of overthrowing the U.S. government. So let's look at that question. Are witnesses less of a threat to the government than the Branch Davidians were? Well, one area is firearms. Koresh ran a firearms business, as we mentioned, and he maintained a heavy arsenal in Waco, Texas. In contrast, Jehovah's Witnesses are not encouraged to use firearms, and members are counseled against getting a job where carrying a firearm would be required. Witnesses are instructed not to use violent force against other people except in self-defense. They teach that Samuel Hurd and the other governing body members will not fight right now. They'll wait to begin until after the rapture.
But in heaven, we will be mighty spirit creatures, fighting alongside our warrior king, Jesus Christ.
And as far as witnesses not in the 144,000, those left on earth during Armageddon, the current doctrine is that they will not participate in the U.S. government's overthrow. They will not need to fight in accord with 2 Chronicles 20:17.
Well, interesting. Did you learn anything that you didn't know before? Maybe many of us know most of those details, but when you hear them, what does it make you feel? I know what it makes me feel. I know how I consider it, and I consider it not only radical, but I consider it delusional. They're psychopathic. They're psychopaths.
I can't believe we actually believed that stuff.
Yeah.
But again, we were.
Well, let me ask you this: did you know that at the beginning?
No.
Or you didn't agree to it?
No.
No, I didn't know it, and nor did I agree to it. We found it out as we continued after we decided to study. So the initial decision was to study.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. But yet, see, they know how to get you deeper and deeper in decision, to decide, to stick, to stay. Besides that, I mean, in our case, we had children whose lives were kind of getting intertwined with other families, which is why we decided to get involved as something for our children, to connect with other families, of other children, in a good and wholesome way. That was our idea. That was what appeared to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
But slow but sure, got to find out details. And, well, at that point, you realize, no, I think we're in a snare. I think we're in a situation that we really, for example, the first time I realized that was when it's called disfellowship person. In other words, a person that was ejected from a congregation for whatever reason, and now he's called a disfellowship person. So he comes to the hall one night. I never saw him before, and said, "Hey, how are you?" And I'm disfellowshipped. It's like, so what? didn't mean a thing to me. I don't know. Well, and I come to find, and he goes and sits in the back as if he's got a plague or something. And it's like, what's going on
He had no idea what that was all about.
And at that point, I don't think I'm in the right place. I don't approve what's going on with this situation. At that point, it's like, oh my God, what did we get involved in? Now, some could say, well, I could see you might have a decision facing you at that point. Yeah. At that point, I might have had to make a decision of whether or not to continue or leave. Well, we decided to stay. Family's there.
Got more involved.
We'll just stay. We'll get involved.
Went to quick builds. We spent a lot of time, money going to quick builds, bringing our children up in it.
Yeah.
They went to the quick builds with us. So we got deeper and deeper.
And we gave everything basically we had as far as time and family, and devoted that to them. We built their kingdom halls, helped build them with others who were doing the same thing. And we also watched them sell their kingdom halls. So basically we also watched the organization grow. Oh my goodness, it was the preaching work, which we did. It really wasn't preaching. It was promoting. We went out and promoted the organization and enlisted people into the organization. Well, that's what people did when they went to the door. We go to the door as uninvited people, and we push the organization. Well, at any rate, it grew amazingly in the 80s to 90s. It was
lots of
growing
growth, lots
like
of growth.
crazy.
Japan, all the countries,
Japan.
Every month they would brag about how many people were coming in.
And they were showing all the numbers of people. Well, guess what? We didn't see the dollar signs that were attached to those numbers. They never gave the dollar signs that amounts to, but they knew the dollar signs because they were becoming massively wealthy. We didn't figure that one out, but others did. And so that drew a certain element into that organization that was interested not in religion, but in money. So what we thought initially was a religion really was a racket. It pretended to be a religion that fooled people into thinking that they're worshiping and slaving for God, where we were really slaving for their organization and growing their real estate business. And that's how it continued on for quite a few years. And then at one point, we saw in one of the congregations locally, we're in Utica, this is in Rome, that there was a ministerial servant who was found sexually abusing his granddaughter.
But we didn't know it at the time.
Didn't know it at the time.
All we knew is that there was something going on, they weren't disclosing it.
Oh no, didn't know. End up finding out so-and-so was abusing his granddaughter. Well, they didn't report him to the police. The daughter-in-law
reported him.
Went ahead and reported him to the police. He ends up going to prison for a few years. Ends up coming back into the congregation.
Reinstated.
Reinstated. Hi, brother. Glad to have you back. What happened with the child? You don't unabuse. You don't unabuse a child.
No.
There's no way to unabuse one. She'll carry that the rest of her life.
They moved to a different town, still in the same area,
Yeah.
but probably a different congregation, I would assume.
Okay, so you just let that slide. It's like, well, what do you do about that? I don't know. And it's like, wow. Well, years later, we found out that there was a huge pedophile, huge abuse problem, sexual abuse problem in the organization worldwide.
And we found out by watching the Australian
Royal
Commission.
It was anyone can go now and look up Australian Royal Commission. And you'll see that it's a massive problem that the governments are dealing with.
Yep.
Well, how come we didn't see it? Because they were paying, the Jehovah's Witnesses pays the victim off to keep quiet so as not to bring any quote unquote reproach on the organization. They don't want it in the media. If it gets in the media, it shows that organization to be what it really is, a pedophile's paradise. So at that point, I realized that's it. We're done. We're out. It didn't take too long to make that decision because now I had the information that I needed. We did not join that organization to support pedophiles. And that's all our presence would do. And pedophiles know that. Pedophiles know that. See, the pedophile knows that they have the controlling interest in that religion. In fact, they know they have a controlling interest in all religions, all groups of people where there's young families, children. It's their game. It's their game. They set the rules, just like in Jehovah's Witnesses. They know that they're going to come into that organization and pretend to be a brother, a sister, while all the time knowing that they're seeking a target. Could have been our children. We had 4. Could have been any of the other children. And we were stupid to that for 36 years. Bad decision. Bad initial decision. Circumstances developed that we found out, new decision needed. We made a decision to leave. Whoa. But don't decisions carry consequences?
They sure do.
Oh, they sure do. They carry consequences. It's something called shunning. So because we chose to visibly disassociate, because I told them in no way do I want to support your pedophile organization, then at that point they have this arrangement whereby the people are directed to shun. And we become what's called apostates. And so we lose. It's like blackmail, basically. And so our 4 children and all the others in the congregation view us as dead. And it works that way too. They just about treat us like that when we go into Walmart or wherever else. They have all they can do to utter something. They run like a scared rabbit. It's pathetic. It really is. But there was a decision that was not difficult to make. There was a circumstance that was difficult to accept and bear, but it was real. It was real. I couldn't change that. And that's a situation that I understand so many of you and ones that aren't here are under. You find out that it's a pedophile organization. Pedophiles know this. They know it. Elders know this. They have no control over it. They don't know if someone's coming into a congregation, if they're a pedophile or not. They don't know. They don't say, I'm a pedophile, so I'm looking for targets in this organization. No, they don't do that. They don't do that. They quietly assimilate in and become your brother or sister, maybe become an elder. And they work their evil. And so many of them are coming out now and they're going to prison. It's not just stories, these are realities. Well, why can't they do anything about it? Well, the reason they can't do anything about it because they know, the pedophiles know that the elders will not take it to the media. They will not expose it. They will not, because the elders are not concerned about the people. They're concerned about the money. It's money that you'll never understand, and I'll never understand, the amounts. Well, money becomes, that kind of money takes on a whole new meaning. It's like, we don't care if people die. Mm-hmm. The money's more important because we got a lot of people who have a stake in that money, the investors. And if the governing body doesn't do their job and protect that money, their butt is in the sling. Mm-hmm. They know that. It's money. It's a money thing. It's a racket. Think of it, the mafia or anything like that. It's not a religion. It's presenting itself as a religion. It's a fraud. Mm-hmm. Okay. I want to worship God. I love God. I'm through with that. I'm looking for a religion where I can worship God with other people and families and whatever. Oh, okay. Well, that's nice. That's nice. Well, guess what? So are the pedophiles. They're looking for that kind of religion too, because you're going there. You and your family are going to go to that religion, that other group, that other organization. And the pedophiles follow because they know you're going there. So you come to realize that it's their game because they're operating in secret. They're not upright. They're not outright. They're not genuine and sincere about what they do. If they were, no one would be around them. At least if they would say, well, I'm a pedophile and I'm interested in the organization here. Well, a family member doesn't say, oh, great, nice to have you. No. They'd leave or they eject them. But they don't do that. They enter as like sheep in wolves' clothing, so to speak. Or no, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Oh, so that's how you get tricked. Yeah. Well, the elders know this. The elders realize we've got some pedophiles floating around here, and what are we going to do? Well, they're not going to get rid of them because the pedophiles know that the elders are also guilty of the same things. Remember, some of the pedophiles became elders. It's their game. It's their game. That means whoever is in that organization or in any arrangement, religion that's made up of people, families, children, guess who's there? Your friendly snake in the grass, pedophile. And they would not be there. Those pedophiles would not be there if your family wasn't there. You don't think pedophiles just collect in a congregation of all pedophiles. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. No. They collect in congregations where families are congregated together with their young, because that's where the targets are. This isn't complicated. It's not complicated at all. And there's evidence all over the place. It's happening constantly where, oh, there's another pedophile. There's another one. There's another one. Oh, this one's going to prison. Oh, yeah. Well, how about all the ones that the elders hid? They paid off the family that got abused to keep quiet. And now that child may still be in that congregation along with the pedophile. So our friendly elder, and by the way, the members' money is paying off the abused child's family to keep it quiet so that the organization can continue to draw people in money, protect that money, and allow the pedophile to continue in the organization. Because if they don't allow him to, the pedophile blows the whistle on the elders who are mostly guilty of the same thing. Who controls? Who controls this? Oh, by the way, do you ever wonder why the government gives religions a tax break? Oh, well, maybe they don't know. Yeah, maybe they don't understand. They don't know that there are pedophiles in the organization and religions. Are you kidding? They knew it before you ever knew it. They've known it all along. Reason being, because the government is filled with men also. You know what kind of men? The same kind of men that are in religions. And we know what kind of men some of them are. So, the government, religions, the Boy Scouts, if they still are Boy Scouts or whatever, any group of where there's families collected together of young people is a target for pedophiles. It's a reality. It's just a flat out reality. And if you don't believe me, just keep your ears open, watch the news, and talk to people and find out, oh my goodness, that person was abused by such and such. Oh my goodness, it's all over. See, it's kind of in the fabric of humanity, so to speak. It's in the fabric of humanity. And they've kind of figured out that a neat way to hide it so that they could keep up their game, they keep up their evil work, they can keep up. They figured that religion is the most wonderful place to hide their pedophilia. Because no one would ever suspect it. Not religion, no. Oh, really?
We never suspected it. We didn't suspect it. Well, I didn't suspect it in the Catholic Church. Maybe you did.
Well, I found out.
Yeah, and then we never suspected it with Jehovah's Witnesses.
And then look what the Catholic Church is doing now. We've got friends that are involved in the Catholic organization. And he says there are millions of dollars.
Just from one church.
That one church.
One church they had to pay out.
Paying out. One church.
And then another person told us that they were selling off stuff to make money to pay for all these all this pedophilia.
Yeah.
That's just two churches.
So, you love God? That's nice. You have faith? Fabulous. You looking for a religion to practice it in? guess what? So are the pedophiles. See? You share something in common with the pedophiles. You're both looking for a religion. Only thing for different reasons. You're looking for good. They're looking, well, to hurt you. Because you're looking for good and they know that they can trick you.
Yeah.
I wish it was different, but it's not.
See, the problem is the fallout. Now, we've got someone here in the chat, Danette. She said CSA plays into having no identity. One's body isn't to be protected. I've been through it in 1964.
Mm-hmm.
There was no justice, only shame. Been out 35 years and still have nightmares.
You will. I truly feel for you. All of us who've gone through anything like that will take it to our death. It's just a reality. Hopefully, we will learn how to manage it and handle it, but we're never going to get rid of it.
Oops.
All the while religions and government continues to hide and support pedophiles. Prove me wrong. Please, please prove me wrong. We had a decision to make, and we still have a decision to make. When someone asks us, they don't ask us, would you ever go back? Well, it's like, what am I going to tell them? I'm not looking for a pedophile organization to go to. When are they going to get rid of pedophiles? They're not going to. It's impossible. The point is, don't be the target. If a person goes to a rifle range, gun range, you don't go stand down where the targets are and expect it'll be safe down here. No. That's you become the target. You put yourself in the target zone. Well, I wouldn't. Why would I do that? Well, unfortunately, they've tricked people to put themselves in the target zone because they made it look appealing. That's called a snare. That's why Rutherford, in his great helpfulness, he was being very helpful. Very, how do I want to say this? Cocky, insolent. He hates people. See, he really doesn't love people. He just loves screwing over people and gaining riches from them. That's what he did. So that's why he was so bold to say religion's a snare and a racket. And basically, the rest of it, and I'm going to prove it and get rich off of you people in the process. And he did. He did. You know, some would say, well, hey, let's make a god out of that guy because he's brilliant, but hateful. He told the truth. He told the truth, and I didn't listen. I didn't listen to him. So decisions are interesting. And it's understandable why they cause anxiety. Because they demand a decision, and they always result in consequences. We can't get away. We literally can't get away from them. If you get away from them, then you're going to lose all sorts of other things. We need to make decisions. And sometimes we may need to make a second decision. Like, oh, you know what? I thought that car was going to be the greatest car in the world, but it's a lemon. I got to get rid of it.
Yul Platts Films, I think I'm saying it right. Yul Platts Films says CSA can be in family as well as nothing to do with religion.
Absolutely. So the family brings it into the congregation as well. Fabulous. Okay. Well, my point is, do you have to maximize your exposure, or should you minimize your exposure? Person who's not part of a religion, at least they don't put themselves around a large group of potential threats.
Right.
If they wanted to, that's their business. You don't. Everybody recognizes what they want to recognize. We're all the same that way. We recognize what we want to recognize. If we don't want to recognize something, I don't recognize that. I'm not going to take that into consideration. I'm going to forget about that. Okay, you can forget about it if you want, but it doesn't mean that it won't revisit you in consequences.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find out. We'll find out.
Gigi said, when I was growing up in the 50s, families didn't want to believe that someone would take advantage of a child.
Exactly.
Happened in my own family, and my aunt didn't want to believe my cousin.
Exactly.
So yes, it's happened. It's been happening. It's going to continue happening. I think the most important thing is that we be aware that it's around us and not be blinded. And it could be anywhere, especially if we have children. We have to protect them, but yet we don't want to, like make them hermits either. So basically just being aware and knowing the people that they're around. There's different ways.
Okay. Different cultures have different awarenesses, different perceptions. Now, in another culture, maybe from birth, the kid finds out that watch out for so-and-so, they like little boys and girls. They do this. There's a lot of this around. So they may grow up with the notion that they've got to protect themselves and watch out for the predators. Okay? They may just grow up with it. Now, in another culture, nothing is ever mentioned about the potential and the possibility of a child being physically abused by a man or a woman. Nothing is ever mentioned. Shh. Don't mention it. Oh, look, it happened there. Nothing happened. And so it goes uncared for. The child they go through a life, they don't even understand what happened to them. They're not going to get any relief. They're going to go through life being marked, ruined in a way that they can't be unruined. And the rest of the society isn't going to acknowledge or help them through it. In fact, if it's mentioned, they're going to be accused of something. Different cultures, different ways. So now, basically, we and others learn by experience. See, we learn by experience. I learned by experience that, the Catholic Church, they're a racket. They're filled with homosexuals. They're filled with deviants. They dress boys up like women. They're called altar boys. They're just boys up, like they put gowns on them. You know why they dress them up like women? Because the priests like them that way. Yeah, the priests like them that way. Because that's why they became a priest. Because there's little boys there. Oh, you thought it was because they're nice guys and they want to serve God? No. They figured, that's where I could practice my deviance. Wow, pretty cool. And we'll dress it all up in a beautiful religion. No one would ever expect it. If they ever mentioned it, they'd think you're being unreasonable. Isn't it perfect? Isn't it wonderful? I mean, isn't it? What a racket. Oh, yeah, that's right. He did say it, didn't he? Did say. Rutherford did say it was a snare and a racket. Yeah. Well.
So Annie's on and Richard.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the only one that can talk.
Yeah, Annie.
And I'd like to listen to others too.
I think Annie is also Craig Benoit is on backstage, and Richard. So, yeah, Shauna, if you want to bring them back, bring them on, please. We'd love to hear from them. Hi, Craig. Thanks for joining us again.
Hey, how are you?
If anyone is new tonight, Craig was with us last night, and Craig is a therapist, and our last program was on therapy.
Yeah.
Talk to a therapist. And we appreciate Craig coming back on again. And then I think Richard and maybe Annie, thank you for waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Annie.
Oh, okay. I wasn't showing up on the screen, so I didn't know.
Well, welcome.
We can hear you.
Welcome.
Okay. Thank you. I wanted to comment. You were talking about the Catholic Church having to pay out so much money. I didn't realize that the Vatican will not back the individual churches. They are responsible for taking care of those matters themselves. The Vatican doesn't hand money out to help them. And that's why a lot of churches have closed, because they can't, they've had to pay out a lot of money.
Yep.
And then I forget what ExJW I was listening to. I was talking about the state of Washington just passed the law. Oh, I think it was Vernon, actually. I'm not sure. Anyways, passed the law doing away with the clergy penitent privilege.
Wow.
It's officially gone. But there were only two religions who fought against it. Guess which two?
Jehovah's Witnesses
and Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they didn't. They thought that was a violation of religious rights or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course.
Wow. Yeah. Great news.
Yeah, well, they're pals, anyways.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
So I mean, if we listen to these things, you start to realize. What is there some motive for all of this? I mean, why does it seem like they're not trying to clear it out? Why does it seem like they're just trying to support it?
I know. I just shake my head that in this country nothing really is done about it. When there are all these civil court cases, but the churches are never charged criminally. It's always just civil. And yeah, they get away with it. There seems to be those in high places who want to keep it going.
Does seem it, doesn't it? Does seem it.
Hey, Craig, what does the LMSW stand for?
Licensed Master Social Work.
Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any thoughts? What we're talking about?
I'd like to say, like, it really kind of is parallel with, maybe not parallel, but it's just the first thing I thought of when we were like, okay, so why aren't they prosecuted in criminal court? Why are people who abuse children the only punishment in our society, for the most part, unless they kill their kid? The punishment is they take the children away from them. If they weren't doing a very good job taking care of the kids to begin with. Okay, and it's almost like very reminiscent of when they were just passing these priests from parish to parish, instead of prosecuting them and investigating what's going on with the greater of the church, because never really getting to the bottom of things, just kind of like sweeping it under the rug, or however you want to say it. But my wife and I have been doing foster care for like over 14 years now, and those people never go to jail.
Yeah.
Those people, they lose their kid. They're given multiple times to appeal the decision, and it's just the system, and it's just like what's going on with it's been happening with the church, and like as I'm finding out more about like the witnesses, and that is that this perpetual a number of abuse and no one really being held accountable for it.
No,
it's disgusting and disturbing, you know.
Yeah. What really is a tip off to me is that why does the government subsidize religion?
Well, you know, they're not supposed to. Separation of church and state, right?
Yeah. See, that to me, it's that. See, I truly believe that religion and government have blackmail power on each other. Basically, look, you don't blow the whistle on me, and I won't blow the whistle on you. Because they're both, I truly believe they're both guilty of the same thing. I really believe that. They're men. I mean, there's men in high places in both places.
With a lot of money.
Yeah, you don't separate, you don't sift them out and put them all over here, and these are all, no. It's a feature of the human in power. It's a feature.
Yeah.
And see, I don't think, honestly, I don't think we're going to change that feature. We're not going to change that feature. I do not believe that. But I do believe we have to be aware of it and not be tricked by them hiding in religions or in God. In other words, they can do what they want, but it doesn't mean you have to put yourself in a position to feed them. If you don't want to be eaten by the wolf, don't go into the wolf den. And here they've gotten people to think that religion is a beautiful, safe place for people and families. Far from it. Far from it.
Right, but it should be.
I mean, well, there you go. See, it should be.
It should be. I mean, if you, I don't know it. It should be. And it's so difficult to embrace something that, in essence, is a beautiful thing, but then it's been manipulated and been used in so many negative ways that now, I don't know. I struggle with it.
Oh, well, look, we're all struggling with it. But I mean, the most powerful thing is awareness and basically facing the facts. Mm-hmm. The fact is, well, here's an interesting thing. What if insurance companies are always doing research as to what areas are more prone for a certain problem than others? They study that wonderfully. And then they make a book on that. And then they've got numbers associated with the exposure of danger for certain things. Well, what if a person says, I want to get insurance that my child will never be bothered by abuse. I'm going to go to an insurance company, and the insurance company is going to say, okay, well, we'll study it, and we'll then come up with a plan for you. And they study it and find out, oh, well, see, it's important that you stay away from all areas where there's high exposure. Insurance companies talk about exposure. And they would find that there's massive exposure in certain institutions, massive exposure. So how much do you suppose the insurance would be for that? They would look at you and say, I'm sorry, we just can't. We can't insure you. Because you're probably going to go places where you're probably going to be exposed to the danger.
Yeah, especially if one of the biggest dangers is your own home.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I agree. That's it. I totally get that. But see, that's quote unquote your home.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like saying, well, let me cruise around to so many different homes and see if I can expose myself to it some more. No, they wouldn't do that. And here they've gotten people convinced that this is a safe space. Religion, it's a safe space. Oh, there's shepherds here. There's shepherds. See, that's what that organization did. They wooed people into believing that elders are shepherds. They love you. They'll protect you. Far from it. The furthest thing from the truth. Furthest thing from the truth. They're the ones going to prison now. Hello, Linda. Welcome.
Linda and
Hi.
Richard.
Thank you. Hi, Richard.
Hi.
And it's good to see you too, Greg.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see everybody.
Did you have something in mind, Linda?
Yeah. Homosexuality has been often referred to as deviant. And if the priests were in fact homosexuals, they would be sleeping amongst themselves, more so than the children, because what happens when an adult does that to a child, it's about power and control, and it is rape. But when two consenting adults, with whatever, position they have for their job, that falls under homosexual rather than there's just been so much intertwined between homosexuals and pedophiles, and I just want to make a distinction about that. And it's not that a pedophile cannot be gay, but they would be gay in spite. I mean, they would be a pedophile in spite of being gay. Like a dear friend of mine was murdered when I was 16 by William Bonin, who was the freeway killer of Los Angeles. He was in fact gay, but he was murdering people and they were children. And it was about power and control for him. And he hated himself, that side of him, as far as being homosexual. So if the Catholic Church, if the problem was homosexuals, I would think that they would be doing things secretly amongst themselves, more so than with children.
I agree there's a confusion, Linda. Linda, you know that they changed the Bible from men who lie with boys
yes,
to men who lie with men. Why do you suppose? Why do you suppose?
Okay, so at that time of Jesus, there was I don't know if I'm saying it right, a Centurion priest. I mean, a Centurion soldier. I don't think I'm saying it correctly, but a soldier went to Jesus and asked him to heal his servant that was at home. And this servant did play the role of not only serving him throughout the house and stuff, but there was also sexual and understanding of a sexual relationship. And those boys who were considered more like teenagers, that was more so the case, not to say that it could not have been, under 12 or 11, but that was a common thing at that time. And that the older person would mentor them to grow up and become a man and know the ways of the world. So there was an exchange there for these people that would take them in. The older men would take in the younger men, young boys. And the word homosexual did not come into the Bible until 1946.
Right.
Before that, it was terminology like what you just spoke of, Joe. They were spoken of as effeminate or soft, things like that. But that person that came to Jesus and said, "Would you please heal him?" Jesus didn't tell him when you stop, using this slave of yours as a, sex servant or whatever, he wasn't told to stop the way things were with that couple. He healed them right then and there and said, "Go home. He's healed." So,
Okay.
and there was times in Sodom and Gomorrah where there would be ritualistic things that would go on, pagan rituals and things that was happening there, but the whole city wasn't in fact gay. Otherwise, there would be no growing families within Sodom and Gomorrah. And it was more about inhospitality, like they weren't hospitable. If someone fed someone that was homeless, they were literally thrown in jail. Like that was not allowed,
Well, you brought up the point, and I totally agree that there has to be a distinction between, like you said, homosexuality, between consenting adults as opposed to the deviant power crime against a child.
Yes.
There has to be a distinction.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
And I just brought it up because you said the word deviant, and I'm not necessarily telling you that I thought you were saying it in the manner that I'm bringing up.
I know.
That's just a word that so often coincides right along with bestiality. Along with bestiality, Trust me, I don't want to have sex with your pets. Okay.
And so this is the game.
I'm a lesbian.
And this is the game that people play who really don't want to be honest about things. They're trying to hide something.
Yes.
And this is where I truly believe that. We're talking about the deviance of the power.
Yes, power and control. Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
And that's always the case for a situation of rape.
Oh my goodness.
And that's what does happen. And and the predators have to come through a lot of times have to go through the parents to get to the children. And somebody was mentioning earlier, I think you read a comment, Auntie Fran, about sometimes it happens within the family. From what I've come to know, 70% is from the family, unfortunately. So, yeah.
Well, now here's where they make that transition from the family to now the congregation being a family. We're all family here. So there again, there's the perception of safety, where the pedophiles know, I'm glad of that, because they want to have the perception of safety. They want to navigate in that perception in that environment of safety to get away with what they get away with. Religions know this. Government knows this. They know this. But they like the money far better than they like the people. I don't see how. I don't see any solution. Richard, are you there too?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can.
You can't hear me?
Oh yes. We can.
Okay, there I am. Okay. I heard my voice echoing back.
You got to turn off the YouTube. Just keep the one thing here open. The screen there. What?
Whoops. We lost him.
Oh dear. Come back, Richard.
Yeah, come back, Richard. I think you knocked yourself out.
Yeah.
Annie, were you thinking of something?
No, not particularly.
Okay, I just didn't want to leave you out.
There was a bad echo for a while.
Yeah. Linda, I think you got to turn off one of your, you got to turn off the YouTube. I think it's coming from
I thought I had it off.
Well, well, when Linda had hers on, we can hear an echo.
Right. I think it was Rich, but I could be wrong.
That's all right.
I double checked.
It's okay. No problem.
The only echo I hear. I'm sorry. The only echo I hear actually is when Joe's talking.
Wow.
Yeah, it is when Joe's talking.
What do we have on
And I'm not hearing an echo at all.
We don't have these.
So, excuse me 1 second. You can hear the echo when I talk. Linda, just mute yourself, please, when you're listening. That's all. It's just feeding back through your screen somehow. But I don't want to leave you muted when you want to speak. So I'm going to unmute you and let you mute yourself as you go, okay?
Sounds good. I'm muting now.
Perfect. Thank you very much, guys. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
Please, thank you, Shauna. No, the technicals aren't really totally manageable, so don't worry about it. It's okay.
I think that Linda, when she was talking about the deviant thing too, it's interesting that it gets lumped in with pedophilia like that, because if you're a Catholic priest, regardless of what your sexual orientation is, you're supposed to be celibate. You're not supposed to have sex with anybody. So if you're having sex with another man, you're still going against everything that you're supposed to be presenting to the world, and sliding in the young boys and the altar servers and the passing around of priests. That just goes to show you how horribly manipulated it is. Because I'm sure that there are many priests that fell in love with other priests because they're humans and they spend a lot of time together. But it isn't. You're not supposed to be having sex with anybody if you're a Catholic priest.
Well, when I was growing up, there was all kinds of stories about pregnant nuns, and
I'm sure
disposing of the babies. So you know that too went on for quite a long time. I don't know, probably still does.
I'm sure it's a big organization, with a lot of people. I will say that I am Catholic, and I'm not offended by the conversation because I'm not blind. But it is just another example of a beautiful thing contorted and disgustingly altered by men to gain power or whatever it is, it's so disturbing. Like you could talk about it for the rest of your life and never like Joe keeps saying, I don't think there is a solution, Just try
there's a point that the Bible makes about the conclusion of the statement. It says that all the time that man has dominated man to his injury. And it just bears that out. In other words, if men stopped dominating men, this wouldn't have been a problem. But there's this craving to dominate. And so long as there's this craving to dominate, all kinds of deviants are going to come out. In other words, people are going to get hurt. It's not just choice, it's injury. And the biggest thing to me is we as individuals need to be responsible for our protection. In other words, I'm not going to expect you to protect me. You can't expect me to protect you. This is it's just a personal obligation to be wise enough to know how to protect ourselves and get along.
I want to welcome Gigi. Gail?
Hi.
Hi, Gail.
Hello, Gail.
Are we still getting a lot of feedback, or is that okay now?
It seems to be okay.
Okay, good.
I think it's situational.
Yep. Okay.
Gail, can we hear from you?
Sure. I'd like to make a couple of points. I worked with special needs adult dually diagnosed women, and we had a incident with a local janitor in the town. He was a custodian for a church that these adult women were able to go out in the community, and they would go to this church, and the custodian befriended them, so he had them all at his house, and he was feeling up the woman. So the women came back and they told me, so I contacted the authorities. Now, here's the sad part about someone who is, especially with special needs. They wouldn't allow her to go on the stand because they said she wasn't going to make a good witness. So then another one of the women did go on, and he did get convicted, but we found out that he had moved from one town to another and had did the same thing in the town prior. But he was thankfully arrested and brought to trial, and he was arrested. But I want to talk about when I was growing up, my cousin his next door neighbor was sexually abusing him, and he told his parents, and they didn't want to believe him. They goes, "Oh no, he wouldn't do. He's a nice guy." Well, my cousin became a heroin addict because no one would listen to him, and thank heavens today he went and got therapy. He's now a musician, but this was devastating, and this is how it was in the 50s. If a Catholic priest would come over for dinner, you'd go upstairs and visit your children, and no one said anything because your parents didn't believe you. And that went on when I was growing up, and I'm glad it's changed because I taught my children to stay away from strangers. And
And
it's all about power and control. And I always pick on innocent children and people who can't defend themselves. And I guess it's actually more prevalent today. But I did look up, I wanted to find out how many people are currently listed on the sex offenders. Are you ready for the number?
Oh, go ahead.
795,066 registered sex offenders in the United States as of the end of 2024. And that's just the ones that we know about.
In everybody's neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's not a lot. I mean, that's not a big number. There's more than that.
I bet there's more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, I'd be willing to bet there's a lot more than that,
Yeah. Well, the question I have to deal with, and we dealt with it, but we still will, is with everything that we know about religion and the prevalence of the abuses in it. Can a person, a family, expect for its young to be safe in that organization and still be active in it? Is it reasonable to expect that, considering everything we know, considering we know that the pedophiles rely on religions and the families in it?
I think that yes, that you can. I can't speak for people who follow other religions, but I also can never imagine a time or a place that I would allow my child to be in a position around somebody that's involved with the church.
Okay.
Where even our faith formation, like our Sunday school classes, are heavily monitored, and the parents usually stick around for the whole thing. It's not even like 20 years ago when my when my son who's older, when he was going through those things, they would have meetings and stuff with the priest, but it was never given any opportunity to be alone with any of the kids.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
And that's a sign of being aware.
Yep.
But I think for myself, being a parent and raising my children, learning that part of, that learning the faith, but not diving too deep into, my kids aren't going on camping trips, and they're not not going to the rectory to hang around. It's not like it. I mean, I wasn't raised Catholic, so it's not like it used to be.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that in other communities, inner cities where there's a lot of people, or impoverished areas, that there's difference, and there's always going to be parents that are negligent, or maybe even if they're not doing it because they don't want to be, I don't know. It's difficult. It's a slippery slope. But when you're dealing with allowing your children to be with people that you do not It's not even that you do not know, that you're allowing them to be alone with those people.
See, and that's exactly what the witnesses did, Craig. The perception was this is safe. These are God's people. They would regularly allow a child or two, whatever, to be alone in service, in a car, whatever, with ministerial servants or elders. It's common. Common. It was.
I also I found it fascinating last week when I really was for the first time brought to light about the witnesses, and that is like I remember thinking after the podcast that if I woke up tomorrow morning and told everybody I knew that I wasn't going to be Catholic anymore, nobody would give a damn.
They'd say, "Oh, that's nice."
They would. No one might. You know what I mean? My father-in-law might give me a hard time, because he's almost 80 and he's a hardcore.
Yeah.
But to hear about the shunning, and I have a friend who married a woman who was a Jehovah's Witness, and they shunned her for years and years and years. I can't imagine that part of it. That's what's really kind of blowing my mind, and that is like I get that there's evil everywhere on earth, that man, but I can't imagine being like I don't want to do that anymore. It's almost like if you were in a street gang,
the mafia,
or a street gang. Like you're in it for life. There's no going back. I can't imagine.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
They took a lesson.
That's what I mean. Like, I know that there's awful things. Yeah, there's awful things about every religion, and I mean, and there's been how many teachers have done it, and how many therapists have had inappropriate. There's a guy right here in town that lost his license.
Well, see, individual is individual, but we're talking about institutional.
Exactly. Yeah.
Institutional thing.
Yeah.
But
that level of. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You were telling us when we first met you, if you have a client that comes into your office, what's the safeguard? Didn't you mention something about
there's another door?
There's another door.
The safeguard I think that we were speaking of is because I do therapy from home, because I do a lot of teletherapy, that there's only one entrance. So that no one can hear, because it's completely confidential.
Right, exactly. Okay, I
yeah,
couldn't remember what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're told the minute, even when I see them face to face, that everything is confidential unless you start talking about hurting someone vulnerable or hurting yourself. Then I have to, because I'm a mandated reporter. But I mean, my physical office, there's an entry and then there's an exit out the back of the building, but it's more for disclosing, like I'm not going to talk about your information. The only one that can make me is a judge, Yeah.
Richard is back with us. Richard, did you have something you wanted to share?
No, I everything you all are saying, I pretty much agree with. I really have not much to add.
But you were raised as a witness, right?
Yes, I was. From the time I was 3 years old, that's when my parents had a knock on the door, and I hope you can hear me really good. They had a knock on the door, and it was my mother actually at my great grandmother's house, and a lady came and knocked on the door, and my mother took the information and then took it home to my dad, and he was resistant, but as he always does, he gave in to her, and next thing you know, they both were baptized in the 90s, and they were in there, and they're still there now and still devout. And I was never really into it. I just kind of went with the motions. Then it came a time I resisted baptism for the longest, but when I was 18, my dad said, well, if you don't get baptized, you gotta leave. You gotta get out. And that scared me because I've never been on my own. And I went and got baptized just so I could have a roof over my head. But which I kind of wish I could have just left.
That sounds like blackmail.
Yeah, I wish I could have just left in the beginning and just trust my instincts.
Yeah. See, that's dominating you to your injury. You know, you're being dominated. And you did at the time, you know, you're not experienced, you're young. Unfortunately, it works. Unfortunately.
It worked for me. I wish I could have just left and trusted my own instincts. I feel like I would have made it.
Yeah.
But at the time, I just didn't believe in myself.
Yeah. Yeah. The people in charge know that it works. It's a craft. It's actually a craft for these people. They learned it. They learned it off of different authoritarian cultures, and they applied it into something that they dressed up as a religion. And they just simply applied everything that they learned from other authoritarian regimes, and they made it a religion. And I'm sorry to say that they suckered a lot of people in.
They did. They suckered, especially during the time we came in as a family. They suckered us along with millions of people. Like we said, that was the peak time, the 80s and the 90s. So that's when it all took place when we came in.
Yeah.
I just wish that religion never came into my life. I
feel the same way.
It just really, and it kept us separate from the rest of our extended family. Because I got some great extended family members, very open-minded, a lot of them, but we was always separate from them, and I didn't like that. And my dad is from a family of 15 siblings.
Wow.
It was him away from all those other siblings, and they all were very close-knit.
Can I ask, how are you with them now?
With my parents or with my extended family?
Well, the others, the
we get along. We get along great.
That's great.
They're all on Facebook. They always include me in all of them.
That's great. I'm glad for it.
It's so many of them. And then we've had family. I've been to a family reunion with them. And hundreds of people there.
Good for you.
And my mother despises his side of the family. He said that they're just basically, I mean, for lack of a better word, garbage.
Oh, geez.
But she despises him. She said they're trying to break her marriage up and everything. But I think they see that he went the JW way because of her. I think that's what they see.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're mean. They just they see that if it wasn't for her, that she would she probably wouldn't be there.
See, these things don't work if a person has self-awareness. If they're in a relationship, they have self-awareness. They know what's happening. They understand, the pressures that's on them. But we're going through it now, and people are becoming self-aware now. We're becoming self-aware now, after the fact.
Yeah, it's sometimes it takes that. Something has to occur in your life in order to become self-aware. You have to go through pain.
I'll repeat it. I heard it before and it meant so much. Experience is what we gain right after we needed it the most.
So true.
Means
it's so true.
Can I ask everybody in the panel, did anybody ever watch the show To Catch a Predator? I think it was on Channel 5. I couldn't believe the amount of professional people.
Was that?
That was To Catch a Predator. I believe he worked for Channel 5 news, local news. And I just couldn't believe the amount of... What?
I think we saw it once, maybe twice.
I just couldn't believe the amount of professional people. I mean, they were lawyers, teachers. I just couldn't believe it.
My daughter's boyfriend, there was one on like ABC, like on the national network, and the man was a rabbi, And that was the rabbi from the synagogue where my daughter's boyfriend grew up going. Yeah. And he went to meet like a teenage girl, and yeah, all walks of life, teachers, and well, everything. There's constantly on the news, like teachers, what's the word that they use, like preparing them for it, and grooming their students. And my gosh, I can't imagine like that kind of manipulation by an adult to a child, because that's when they want to grab you. That's when any kind of fraternal type thing, there's a reason that the military doesn't want 30-year-old guys, because they can't break them down.
Yeah.
Like you said, self-awareness. Yeah. There aren't too many kids with self-awareness. That's something that is developmental. You learn that as you get older. So, that's why they would prey on kids and young people, or homeless kids, or drug addicts, or anything, any way to bring them into the fold.
Well, there's so much awareness going on now. What with the Mormons, what with the witnesses, with other cults, where people are coming out and they're sharing, and they're learning what was going on in their lives, and it's exposing it all. But as far as the solutions, I don't know that there's really any solutions, but the awareness is where the power is. And then the responsibility to manage our own personal safety. In other words, we can't leave it up to the shepherds to take care of us. You can't leave it up to the government to take care of me. I can't leave it up to the religion to take good care of me. I can't. You're finding out you can't do that. It's something that we need to manage and do ourselves.
I find that the most peace that I get with a family and professionally is trying to block out what doesn't truly matter to me, what I can control. I do a lot of reading of the Stoics. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and there's so much talk about, like, you can't control that, so why are you wasting your energy? I can protect my children. I can teach them.
Yeah.
We've taken our kids out of public school, and not to say the kids that go to public school, some of my kids did go. I grew up and went to public school, but I'm more interested in teaching them what I think is important for them growing up, because grades don't mean anything. Like I want them to be good, well-adjusted, happy people. But I used to be just completely focused on, I want my kids to get good grades. I just want them to be. I want them to be happy.
For goodness sakes, the school system is the government school system.
Yeah.
It was designed basically to prepare people for military and for government use. That's why the grading system, the numbers, classifications, it's all government system.
We want to talk about a racket.
That's it.
It's a huge racket.
But
I can remember when I was in school, when I went to college, and it was, if you disagreed with what the professor was saying, you had to learn to just play. If you wanted to be successful and get out of there with a degree that can help you, but if you didn't have an open mind to the idea that what he's teaching you goes against your value system, how would you? Then you are just a number. You are just a part of the machine. So trying to keep that, like when my kids left for school, I said, question everything, but don't forget where you came from. And because they're the same way, they will lead you astray into believing things that normally you wouldn't believe, just like religion will do that. So I just want, that's why I think, like, in a roundabout way get back to saying, I'm only really interested in like what the Stoics would say. Like, if you can control it, control it. If you can't, you need to learn how to live with it. And I just choose to live without. I don't even watch the national news anymore because
good for you.
Because it's depressing.
Oh, it's mind
And
controlling.
and all they're trying to do, in my view, and I'm sure some people would disagree, but it's the tail wagging the dog. They're trying to blind you with stuff that doesn't really matter and you can't control.
Well,
you know what I can control? I got to go out tomorrow before work and finish cutting up that tree because I want to put a new garden in.
That's it.
Doesn't matter who in the hell the president is or who in the hell the Pope is. You know, they just want you to forget about what's really important, and what's important is you can carry your own.
Well, a little research, if you do a little research on the pagan religions, the god Medea was the goddess of trickery. Well, that's what the television news is called, media. That's where that came from. That's where the name media came from, and it's because it's designed to trick us into whatever they want us to believe.
Get you all fired up. Get you all fired up about something that you believe in, so so you're not paying attention that where all the money's going and
it's a distraction. It's a distraction. So we say we're not going to change the world, but we can change our world.
Our world.
Exactly.
That's what Doug was talking about.
Right.
His world.
Yeah.
Well, I had a great. I can't even remember who told me, but I remember, and it sticks in my mind, and that is when you get so self-absorbed and you start thinking that you're so important in this world. The sun's coming up tomorrow, no matter whether you're here. Right. You know, so why don't you just learn to roll? Just learn to roll with what's going on, and try to focus on what's most important. I'm guilty of being focused on my career and wanting to be successful at it, but when it comes right down to it, this is my life. You know, my family and my children, and you only get one shot with that. So I try not to get too wrapped up in politics, and I love sports, but I'm even at the point now where I can't watch sports.
Oh, boy.
It's just another racket to distract you from what's important. But
yeah. No, well, I appreciate that. Like I say, we can control our personal lives, and that's where I think we have to take it away from those trying to control us. And that's where the religion, I'm telling you, the witness, they want us, we would go to a meeting, Craig, and they would say, empty your mind of all the thoughts of the day. Just accept what's being said here.
Yeah, they hypnotized us.
It was so pathetically obvious that it was
That's
all
scary.
Indoctrination. It was all indoctrination. So what we're doing now here, and what friends are doing here now, basically they're taking control of their lives. And it's your life. It's your beautiful life. And you deserve your life. And I appreciate being in company with others doing that. I really do. See, we've had the best relationships with people now after that organization. Couldn't have good relations with people in that organization. You simply couldn't. But now we can.
Richard,
It sounds like
dishes?
I'm
Richard's
sorry.
doing dishes.
What's going on?
Brings a smile to my face. I do the dishes a lot too.
Yeah, I'm doing dishes. Trying to be quiet as possible.
That's okay. That's okay. It's a good example.
I love a man with dishpan hands.
See,
Thank you.
I told you, I knew it.
I can't stand dirty dishes, so I guess I did learn that from my mother. Well, I learned some good things from her. She always said, "Keep a clean kitchen, make your bed, and all that kind of stuff."
Right on. I wanted to tell Gigi, good for you for making that report when you heard the girls come back to you, the women come back to you and say that to you. Yeah. And, predators show up anywhere. Someone came after my oldest daughter, and I put him in jail, and it had absolutely nothing to do with the watchtower. Fortunately, for me, she didn't have to go up on the stand or anything, and this was his third strike. So, he kind of, did it himself. And I called the investigator so many times. He told me, "Ma'am, you may call me once a week." I was like, "Where are we at in this whole thing?" So that I didn't let them forget about me. And at first it was almost like I could not even move to start to start doing what I needed to do. I felt paralyzed, but that's also a normal thing.
Yes.
Here's the saddest part of everything. And thank you, Linda, for that compliment. Now, this gentleman that was abusing the girls, and he was also abusing the young men as well. And he lured them in with this. They would come back and tell me this was going on for a while. He was getting them to trust him, so he would have them over for popcorn and a movie, and he had this Coke machine that they loved. So for after he started engaging in their trust, and then that's when he started to take advantage of them. But I was very happy that 2 of them came back and they told me what was going on. But it wasn't just the girls he was abusing; it was the boys too.
Oh yeah.
So would it be safe and fair to say that there might be a pattern that a young person should be aware of, so as to be, to be conscious of what could be happening? Is it fair?
I'm not being facetious, please. This population, they trust everybody.
Yeah,
and I think this man took advantage of that trust. They trusted everybody, and we had a whole course on sexual abuse with them, because they just trusted everybody. And that's what the saddest part of this was. And it actually broke one of the women, and she ended up with a nervous breakdown because of what he did to her. And
people want to trust. We want to trust. Yes. I mean, we want to trust each other. And see, that's the horrible thing that pedophiles take advantage of. They're just terrible, terrible creatures. They really are.
Oh yeah, all I could do was going over there to strangle him to death.
Can imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They wouldn't let me in the courtroom.
I did send somebody to his house in the middle of the night to say, "Don't mess with my daughter." I did do that before he got to jail.
Good for you.
Because I had his address and I sent somebody to him to threaten him. That was a good time.
Good for you. And,
wow.
We want to say hello to Flick About Beauty.
Hello.
Hi. Hello. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. Yeah, Felicitable Beauty. Yep. Yeah, I actually was I had texted you earlier today. I was excited about getting the cake for our New York meetup, and I'd love to hear any ideas of what to put on the cake. I'm thinking like a little happy saying, kind of like some of the little conversations that come up with everybody. Everybody say happy life. I've been listening on and off for the last 45 minutes because I just got home with tons of groceries from Trader Joe's, so I'm putting that away as I'm listening. But yeah. Yeah.
Any ideas for the cake?
No.
No, whatever you like.
No.
ExJW, meetup.
I reserve the right to be surprised.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I'll hear something somewhere in the interview or something, and I'll be like, I'll probably like, I haven't been listening to as many interviews lately, but if I was, I'd probably pick up on a little phrase and be like, that's it. But so if anybody has anything, I'd love to hear.
How
We'll
about
keep it
a
in
phrase?
mind.
How about a phrase that Watchtower used? The best life ever. How about XJWs have the best life ever?
I could. That's a thought. I feel like that's thought. I have some more. I think we could like a few other options would be good too.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that thought. Or I don't know, I just kind of feel like I want to leave the XJW out of it. I just don't feel like getting in a conversation with someone. Like I really don't.
Make it whatever you want it.
Right.
You.
Dana suggested New Light Connections. That's kind of cool.
What is it?
Dinah suggested New Light Connections. That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah. You know what? Oh my God, she's a poet. She should, Diana, text me some other ideas you have. I would love any ideas you have as well, because you're going to be there. So,
Yeah, you and Dinah can kind of talk it over.
yeah, I love that idea. Yeah, I definitely could use the help. I'm not, the poet of the group here, so that's for sure. Awesome.
Thanks for coming in.
I know we had an awesome day. We were like doing like an outdoor like recreational like bumper cars and things. And so my oldest daughter has disabilities, and I didn't even know she could drive a go-kart, and she passed me, and I was scared driving. And I'm like, oh my God, it was funny. I was with my other son driving, so I had to be in with him. So that was funny. And then I did actually see an XAW when I was checking out. But it's the wife of an elder that was giving me kind of a hard time. But she doesn't know us because she just married him from another state, so she didn't know who I was. So I just didn't want to. I honestly didn't want the conversation. But I was trapped, and they had like 2 carts of groceries. So I'm like, she didn't recognize me. And I was actually glad, because normally I'll talk to people, but she doesn't know me. So like, why should I have a conversation with her? So it's funny. There's always a lot of funny stories along the day, but yeah, we all slept in, so we're not too tired tonight. Otherwise, I'd be like, how am I going to put these away? But no, I'm listening to you guys, and I've learned a lot. Like I feel like all the feedback that you all give, it gives like it fills in missing pieces that I never thought about before. So thank you for everything you all share.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, we appreciate everyone coming on tonight. Dallas.
Yeah, I'll like check out. I'll be listening though.
Let's see. Anyone else have anything to say?
It seemed like it was a good show tonight. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you. So let's see. If Ruby is listening, Ruby can tell us the name of the movie tonight. Last week it was What About Bob, and we watched it. Even though we had seen it before, we always laugh every time we listen to it. Or maybe Shauna's going to tell us about the movie.
I don't know if Ruby's in the house or not, so I'm just trying to bring it up. I'm pretty sure tonight we are watching The Notebook. So let me just confirm that right now. Yep. 1 second. Oh, Ruby's on. There she is.
It's in the chat.
It's in the chat.
Dallas is on the phone, and he was trying to get in. Walking Dead.
No.
Well, that I have to take that off.
Oh, that's not the movie.
No.
Or is it?
The movie for is The Notebook, coming that was released in 2004. It's a real classic. This is a movie that I seen. If you want to join us for it'll play in about 10 minutes. And yeah, it's gonna be a movie night on Discord.
Okay, so it's The Notebook.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Okay. So
I have it, and
so if Dallas is backstage,
Yeah.
what does he do?
Okay, so he has to connect his mic.
Connecting mic.
Shauna, it looks like Dallas is backstage. Do you see Dallas?
Yeah, I see him. He just has to connect that microphone,
Yeah,
and he's
just
on.
connect his microphone. There's going to be a little microphone.
Hit the microphone.
At the very bottom of your
At the
screen.
very bottom.
I'm not sure if you're on a phone or not.
At the
Ruby, just so
bottom,
you know,
yeah.
your sound was very mono.
Yeah, you have to hit the microphone at the bottom of the screen.
Okay. Okay.
All right, he's trying to get on.
Yeah, I can see him.
Okay. All right. I think Shauna's letting you on.
I can't until he actually connects a mic or a camera.
What does he have to do?
When you first come into StreamYard, you have to connect your mic or your camera, and he doesn't have anything connected.
No, he doesn't have anything connected.
Well, you've got to connect. Dallas, if you can hear, you got to connect your mic.
Okay, is the sound better now?
Oh,
Yep, actually, that's way better, Ruby.
Okay, I plugged in my microphone. Yeah, that's what it is, Dallas. If you're listening, you have to go to like the permissions in your device, like in your settings. And then for the StreamYard website, you have to click like allow camera, allow, mic. You have to allow the permissions for the browser to take control of your device. So when you come on, you can just click, on or off. But it's definitely his device. It's not the platform. Okay, so I'll just repeat what I said earlier if anybody didn't really hear me well. We're going to watch The Notebook that came out in 2004. Super, super great movie. It's a classic. I'm so glad that somebody suggested it. And I know we probably seen it 1,000 times, but if you still want to hang out, definitely go to Discord, join the server. The movie will start in 10 minutes. I'm going to leave it playing on again. I don't think I'm going to be able to watch it with you guys, but I will let my laptop just play it for you because I have to get back to studying. I have to take a state exam this coming week because I'm going to start selling insurance.
Good for you, Ruby.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it, but I had to like complete 60 hours of this course, and it took me like a week just to get 60 hours on this virtual class. So it's a lot of hard work this past week, but I'm definitely going to let it play for you guys. And hopefully I pass this test. I already got hired with this company. I just need to pass the test.
We're hoping. You will. You will.
Good job, Ruby.
Yes, you got this.
Yeah, thank you guys. Hopefully by next Wednesday or the following Wednesday, I will come back with some great news that I, passed the test. I can start selling insurance in my state. And then I'm going to try to find people to actually sell life insurance to. So that'll be awesome. I'm going to put my telephone witnessing skills because now I have to call people and convince them that you need life insurance.
So Ruby, is that just for Florida?
Yeah, right now I'm going to just start with Florida. And if I want to get like a non-residential license in another state, I can definitely do that in the future. It's not that expensive for certain states, but I'm just going to stick with Florida for now and, get the hang of it. And then I might upgrade my licensing so that I can, sell in other states. But, so far so good. I've been attending like the training thing on it's 100% virtual. The job. Like I don't have to leave home at all. I can use my cell phone, my computer, and I don't have to leave my house, which is great. Because you guys already know me. I I love to stay home. So I got the perfect job for me. Because you guys know I like to talk a lot. I think I am persuasive. I think I can convince somebody that they need this. And I always say to myself, if I can do all that darn work for a cult, I can do it to make money. You know what I'm saying? Like do it for yourself, invest in yourself, and use those skills to, have a leg up in the world because we know how to study. We know how to talk to strangers. So I think this is a good thing. I'm pretty excited.
Good.
Good for you, Ruby.
Let us know how it goes, Ruby.
I will, guys. Thank you so much. So
Thank
yeah, I will see everybody soon. I'm gonna hop off.
Good night, Ruby.
And
Thank
yeah,
you,
good night,
Ruby.
everybody. Enjoy
Good
the
night.
movie.
Good
All
night.
right, bye.
It looks like Skylar Mendez Mosley just joined us. Howdy, everyone. How are we this fine evening? Yeah, so we've been on for 3 hours. If anyone missed the show, you can go back. It'll be taped. And again, we mentioned in the beginning, if anyone is new here and they have not subscribed to Fixing My Faith, they are trying to get 10,000 subscribers. So that would really help them out.
Yeah, subscribe to them and give them a like for this.
Yeah, give them a like for this program.
Please.
Tell your friends and everyone about it.
Because they're bringing this, and we truly appreciate it.
Yes. Shauna, did you have something you wanted to add?
No, I just want to thank everybody for being here again. Great conversations. Thank you, Joe and Fran, for hosting again. It's something I think a lot of us look forward to every Wednesday. So
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
Shauna.
Thank
you.
you.
Make it, you make it possible.
Yes, and thank you, Annie and Linda and Richard.
Thank you.
And also we want to thank Craig for coming on. He doesn't have to come on. He takes it out of his schedule. He's got 14 children and he's a busy person. Yeah, he's a foster parent.
Good for him.
So he was never a Jehovah's Witness, but he's very interested in the Jehovah's Witness. So we hope this helps him.
Yeah.
Hopefully the ex-Jehovah's Witness he's interested in.
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
you're
yes,
right. Good,
yes.
Great point.
That's
Please
right,
don't
Richard.
tell him don't join, please.
No, he won't.
I'm a
Amen.
man as it is, so I mean I don't want to be
That's
in the
right. That's right. Well, thank you, folks.
Yes, thank you. And
Like,
good night.
Good night.
Good
Like Vern says, let's keep living our lives with love.
yes,
That's a good one. Yeah.
Right.
That's
Good night,
right.
now.
Shauna's going to do the outro.
Yeah.
yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
all.
Rolling it now. Goodbye, everybody.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Love you.
And making friends.